Once upon a time, there lived a young lady who felt as if she were an ugly duckling in a world of dazzling swans. Feelings of insecurity and hopelessness overwhelmed her as she looked upon those she admired, thinking to herself that she could never blossom as they could. Yet, unbeknownst to her, a magical transformation was already taking place, slowly revealing the radiant princess she wished to be. If this tale resonates with you, know that you're not alone. We all experience moments where we feel lacking compared to others, wishing we were closer to our idealized self. But if you'll allow me, let me cast some magic to reveal how your time as an ugly duckling is the key to all you desire. Hello my beautiful flowers, and welcome back to my channel, where my goal is to inspire you to embrace your inner princess and to live your fairy tale life. I am the Whimsical princess, and today I want to offer you some guidance on how to really enjoy living in your ugly duckling or awkward phase. But before we begin, I want you to get cozy with your tea or comforting beverage of choice, because we are going deep today. Now that you're nice and comfortable, let us begin. First, we should start off with what it means to be an ugly duckling or to have an awkward phase. It is a period in your life where you don't feel like your most confident self. I like to define it as not who you are, but a stage that you're going through, a stage in whatever you're trying to achieve. You can be in an ugly duckling period of many things. You might want to be an artist, but the only thing you can draw are stick figures. Perhaps you want a big, beautiful garden with lots of flowers, but the only thing you have is 3 daisies growing in your backyard. Ugly duckling isn't who you are, but where you are on your journey. You are in the part of your transformation where you are learning and growing and ultimately becoming who you are. I used to think this time, this era of becoming, was something to be ashamed of. This video was supposed to be me baking a vintage cake for the first time while I talked about the 3rd season of Bridgerton, but I let my fear stop me, my fear of imperfection. Every step I took towards who I wanted to be only reminded me of what I lacked. I critiqued everything from the way I looked to my filming angles. Nothing seemed right, and ultimately I couldn't progress, all because I was too ashamed of where I was. I stopped filming, I didn't post it, and what happened? I became stagnant and I couldn't move forward. Because what I didn't realize was that when you reject the period of life that you're in, you are essentially rejecting your own magic. Okay, so what do I mean by magic? Your magic is your ability to evolve and grow and adapt and become. I like to romanticize this by thinking of Cinderella's transformation scene. I want you to think of the fairy dust that sprinkles all around her as the actions you take that get you closer to where you want to be. Our society tends to glorify the end result while also devaluing all that came before to make it possible. This leads to us feeling inadequate and ashamed. And when we shame ourselves for being in our awkward stage, we lose any chance we have to progress and grow and get to where we want to be. This is a special time where we are growing in our grace, beauty, and purpose. We don't want to jeopardize that by hating it and ultimately ourselves. You might be thinking, yes, well, that's well and good, but it's still embarrassing. It's still embarrassing not having it all together. It's frustrating not having things figured out. It's sad seeing everyone else be where we want to be while desperately trying to get there. Well, my blooming flower, let me shed some light on all the ways you can embrace and love your ugly duckling phase. In order to love yourself well in this stage, 2 changes must happen. I've broken these down into mindset shifts and actions that complement them. First, like always, we have to start off with mindset. Mindset shift number 1. The awkward phase is not who you are, it is a stage that you are going through. In other words, with this mindset shift, the goal is to separate yourself from this phase. You are not the phase that you are in. I like to do this by getting specific with what I am growing in. For example, I am an ugly duckling when it comes to becoming more physically fit, or I am in the awkward stage of my gardening passion. By creating a distinction between yourself and the unrefined skill, you are less likely to tie your self-worth with where you are in your journey. You are valuable and worthy as you are right now, in this very moment. Do not define yourself as this moment in your journey. Mindset shift number 2. We need to stop our brains from associating this phase with negative connotation. Basically, we need to stop our brains from associating this phase with negative emotions and experiences and start seeing this phase for what it truly is, which is a period of growth and becoming, not blunders and mishaps. You are an adorable duckling at whatever you happen to be working on. When you do something less than perfect, be patient with yourself. When you trip up, laugh kindly at yourself and look back on it with fondness. It's all about reinforcing the belief that this is a time of positivity and creating good things for you and your life. Mindset shift number 3. Focus on the discovery. I want you to look at where you are with a fresh set of eyes. This time is all about discovery, experimentation, and excitement. I don't want you to go through the motions only focusing on the end result. I want you to marvel at the tiniest things and act as if you are on an exciting, once-in-a-lifetime adventure. On an adventure, you discover all types of new and interesting things. You get excited learning things you didn't know before, and you aren't afraid to be daring and do things you don't usually do. That is what your ugly duckling period is all about. For example, when I started using makeup, I looked nothing like the way I do right now. I looked adorably misguided, and that's okay. But the most amazing part of it was that I never saw myself that way. All I can remember is being so excited to try doing my own makeup for the first time. I couldn't wait to experiment with those shades of eyeshadow that I got from Claire's and see what it felt like to have ruby lips with my cheapest lipstick at Walgreens. First time I put on makeup, put on blue shimmer on my eyes, very light shade, and red lipstick on, and I felt beautiful. Did I look like the gurus in the tutorials I was watching? No. But that didn't matter to me. I looked at every attempt as an exciting discovery. I experimented, I saw what I liked, what I didn't like. I saw this as a time to explore all the possibilities and looks I could achieve. And because of that approach, I didn't focus on my flaws, even though there were many, and didn't let my mistakes discourage me from continuing what I set out to do, which was to be pretty. I'm just kidding. No. Mindset shift number 4. Reframe your missteps in a way that encourages patience, self-love, and kindness. Our minds are often quick to jump on our mistakes and use them as an excuse to put ourselves down. But I want you to make a conscious effort to treat yourself with care. When we think of a kitten that's just gotten its legs, do we compare its clumsy, wobbling steps to the graceful, refined movements of a fully grown cat? Of course not. We see a kitten wobbling and think it is cute and endearing. Can you apply this way of thinking to yourself in your journey? Let's try another example. When we think of an antique, is it worth less even though it is not new and perfect? It isn't. Even with its flaws, generally it's seen as being more valuable because of its imperfections. Think of all the people who don't want factory-made copies. They want something with character and charm, which is how you should see yourself. Now that we've shifted our mindset, I want to move on to the actions you can do that complement this way of thinking. Action number 1, I call this the comparison exercise. I know you've heard the advice, don't compare yourself to others, which is very true and valid. But if you're like me, then sometimes it feels impossible. You look to people and initially you feel inspired to make your life extraordinary too. However, those same people that motivated you turn into something that you can use to put yourself down. Whenever you feel that urge to use others in this negative way, I want you to try this. If you have your phone with you, you can do this right now. If you're watching this on your phone, it's okay, you can do it later. The comparison exercise is basically this. Go to the Instagram page or YouTube channel of someone you admire. Now, go to your favorite post or favorite video from that person. I want you to look at it, see all the things that you like about it, explain why you like it, and how it makes you feel. Okay, now that that's done, I want you to go back to their very first post, all the way down their feed. Now, compare yourself now to that post. How does it feel to compare yourself to a similar version of someone you admired? This is a clear way to show yourself that everyone, even those you admire, has a journey that began imperfectly. And to also, especially in the beginning, keep in mind what you don't see. You don't see the insecurity that they faced when people they admired crossed their timeline, or the imposter syndrome they felt when comparing their journey to others, or even the nervousness they felt before pressing post. Instead of the perfect version you've created for this person, can you imagine them human and feeling the same way you feel at this very moment, unsure and not having it all figured out? Instead of assuming everyone else is living up to perfection, I want you to assume that everyone is human and very well capable of feeling the exact same way you do, even if they do a good job of not showing it. If you have to compare, at least make it fair by seeing others' beginnings too, and be inspired not by their beautiful aesthetics, but by their bravery and courage to begin a new journey, not being the best. The reason I wanted you to do this exercise is because so often we're comparing our chapter 1s to their chapter 30s, and that is not realistic or healthy. We have to see that everyone starts where we are, and they gradually get better over time. They go through their awkward phase or ugly duckling phase, and it's beautiful. Without it, they would not be the person that you admire. So whenever you're feeling down or discouraged from going through Instagram or seeing your favorite YouTuber make another gorgeous video, I want you to remember they all started where you are, in the beginning. Okay. Action number 2, write down your lessons. During our ugly duckling phase, we are learning so much, and most of that learning is done the hard way, the embarrassing way, the oh please don't ever let this happen again way. But what if I told you that your failures and lessons are the secret weapon you need to flourish and blossom? The saying that you learn more from failure than you ever do with success is not only true, but invaluable. When we are in a phase of life that feels like failures are abundant, we need to treat them like the valuable information that they are. And the way we can do this is by writing them down. Think of it as a fairy godmother in text form, guiding you on your path, transforming pumpkins into carriages. When you write down your mistakes and how you solved them, you are less likely to repeat them, saving yourself so much time and energy. This one may seem a little simple, but don't underestimate the power of writing down all the things that you've learned. It doesn't matter what you use, whether it's a specific journal or sticky notes or notepad. Have a dedicated space to write down all that you learn, so you don't repeat any mistakes and spend more time relearning the same lessons. Oftentimes, it feels as if we're not progressing because we forget the mistakes that we've made and what we learned from them. I've mentally scolded myself many a time for doing something that I know is wrong, but I can't remember why or how I handled it before. So it feels like I'm wasting time learning the same mistakes over and over, which actually ends up being the case. So save yourself time, energy, and effort and write down all the lessons that you learn. And also give tips to your future self so you can keep getting better and progressing faster. I almost forgot, in addition to writing down your mistakes, also write down what you accomplished and what you did well. On our way to blossoming fully, we often forget to acknowledge the successes because we are too busy dwelling on our shortcomings. Hence why we don't enjoy our becoming era. But please remember that it is so important that we celebrate every victory, no matter how small and insignificant it may seem. You are blooming beautifully, more often than you give yourself credit for. Take a fresh look at yourself and give yourself permission to see all the good you are creating and all the progress that you're making. Action number 3, promise yourself to try. I say try because try doesn't put expectations or judgments on the things that you do. It just means to attempt it. You aren't promising that you'll succeed or that you'll get everything done or you'll do it well or worse. It just means you'll do a little more than what you did before. In the past, I've been so burdened with perfectionism that I would criticize myself for not being amazing at something I just started. Soon, that irrational voice won out, and I became so afraid that I would be horrible or even just okay at something that I would shut down. But you know, the great thing about trying is that there is no judgment, which is why I want you to tell yourself you'll try so you can get out of criticizing your own efforts. From now on, your efforts are worth more than gold. Your attempts are nothing short of magical. By saying I'll try to yourself, you are letting go of any attachment you might have to an outcome and embracing the actions you take, not caring where they might lead. When you try something, there isn't, or rather there shouldn't be, an expectation that you will do it perfectly or even do it well, because trying, in essence, isn't about how good the results turn out. It's simply the act of doing. Trying means knowing there will be times where it won't look pretty or polished, and you might have to laugh at yourself while acknowledging your faults. Promising to try isn't a promise to succeed or fail, but a promise to see it through. You are not an expert, so don't expect yourself to be in this becoming period of life. Instead, take baby steps and make doing them your happiness. And that's all I have for today's video. I want you to remember that every graceful swan began with uncertain steps, and even the most enchanting fairy tales take time to unfold. I made this video for both you and me. To be honest, this video was one of the hardest things I've ever done because I feel like I am in that stage myself, and this was a video that I needed to remind myself that it's okay to not be perfect, and it's okay if it doesn't come naturally. It's all a part of the process, and there is joy and magic in every part of your journey, and it's not good to be unkind to yourself for not living up to your expectations that you set for yourself. So Let us blossom and bloom together, and let's embrace every phase of our lives and every phase that we happen to go through. I hope this video inspired you today to try something and to not give up on whatever you're trying to achieve, and to give yourself grace and love every step of the way, because that's what we need to keep going. My light. If this video made your heart feel seen, I'd be honored if you give it a thumbs up and share it with a fellow princess, and subscribe for more cozy and whimsical encouragement. Until next time, keep blooming like the beautiful flower that you are, and I'll see you next time. Or awkward phase. But before we begin, grab your, and when we shame ourselves for being in our awkward, and when we need you to remember I have in training